Hi. Sorry, this is a remake. The other one didn't have sound. I know. Great job. But anyways, back to the rationale and why I wrote it. So in my rewrite of the Lottery by Shirley Jackson, I had an idea to go through the personal aspects of what Mrs. Hutchison, the person who who wins the lottery at the end, um, would be feeling when she comes to the lottery originally. And I just want to say that the way I wrote it was mostly so that you guys could get a more personal view into why she was at the lottery and the way that she showed up into the lottery and how she felt, sorry, about that. So let me read it to you right here. This is by me. Uh, and this is, as I was running from home trying to be on time to the lottery, I saw Mr. Summers trying to round up the townspeople getting ready for the drawing. I ran into the crowd and threw my sweater over my nasty house dress. As I ran into the crowd, I saw Mrs. Delacroix. Now, it should be technically, this is not in the writing, this is a side note. It should technically be Delacroix, but because in this town, for some reason, they pronounce it Delacroix, she said in her somewhat demonically joking voice, "Clean forgot what day it was." We both laughed. "Thought my old man was stacking wood out back," I said with a hint of sass in my voice. Another side note, I'm trying to use demonically and sass as a sort of way to piece together bits that, a little bit just to take up room, but also because to add a little bit more emphasis into the way that she was saying it, because it could just be like she's saying it like a robot, but she's not. She's saying it like, "Oh, I thought my old man was stacking wood out back," and then it says back, and then I looked into the window and the kids were gone, and then I remembered it was the 27th and came a running. After this remark, I started to dry my hands. My hands were still wet because of the dishes that needed to be washed. While I was doing this, Mrs. Delacroix said, "You're in time, though. They're still talking away up there." I gave a sigh of fake relief, because since I was young, I had believed that the lottery had to be barbaric, but I did not want to upset my husband by telling him my belief. So I added this in here because she says, "It's just not fair. It's just not fair," while she's getting stoned. And I thought, well, what if at one point in her life she thought that it was completely barbaric and that she thought it was messed up and that it shouldn't be done? Well, to add that in there, I wanted to add that in, but also just to show a little bit of how it seems to be a bit more misogynist than normal. It's like, "Oh, a man must pick up for her wife," it says. "A man must pick up for his family." And she seems like, I don't want to really tell my husband because, he will probably be like, "Oh, well, that's not good. Ooh, well, guess that's not good. Tessie, that's not a good idea." Stuff like that. Back to this. And then I added in, as I craned my neck to see through the crowd like a deranged giraffe, I added in the simile of like a deranged giraffe to show a bit how she was craning her neck to see through the crowd, kind of going up and down, looking around, really trying to get up high to be able to see her husband and children. And this says, "I found my husband and children standing near the front. I tapped Mrs. Delacroix on the arm as a farewell, like a sailor to his wife." Again, another simile to explain how she said goodbye to Miss Delacroix, and began to make my way through the crowd. The people separated good-humoredly to let me through, two or three people said, in voices just loud enough to be heard across the crowd. "Here comes your Mrs. Hutchison," and "Bill, she made it after all." After I reached my husband, and Mr. Summers, who had been waiting, said cheerfully, "Thought we were going to have to get on without you, Tessie," I then said, grinning. Wouldn't have left me, you wouldn't have me leave me, Me dishes in the sink now, would you, Joe? And soft laughter ran through the crowd as the people stirred back into position after my interrupting arrival. I tried to add in the interrupting arrival as a way to portray how she must have felt a bit about her arrival, just being like, oh, well, I'm kind of causing a bit of a commotion here. And that's not really that good, but let's go back. I added, as I told you guys already, I added in my... Sorry. I tried to connect this to the story, because she always said, well, no, it's not fair, which then she must not have really liked the idea of the lottery about that then. And I think the way Shirley Jackson wrote it was so well done, especially at the end, when it says, even somebody gave me little Davy, I think was his name, her youngest son, a few pebbles, because at the end they stone her, which is a ritualistic thing, where they pick up stones and they chuck it at the person till they die. It is actually still a form of punishment in Saudi Arabia and Iran. But the way they do this, it has a lot of historical connotations too. I'm not sure if you guys are religious, but in the Bible, it says that Jesus Christ said that they were about to stone Mary Magdalene, who was a prostitute. And he said, those who have not sinned throw the first stone. And that's a bit of a way I think she was trying to get at it, that, like, we all sin. Well, I'm not sure if she's trying to get at it or not. This is just the way that I see it, was that she was trying to portray that we all sin in some way or another. And by showing that her children even threw stones at her, like it was a game, freaked me out a little bit. And how she said that, and how it says that Shirley, the author, wrote that it was that other villages had stopped doing it, and that really went there. And it's like if you took, I don't know, the death penalty, for example. Now many villages may still use it. It's a bit like in the United States, where the first people who started outlawing hanging and shooting of people as a way of punishment. So, I'm in the middle of something.
Oh, sorry. You look at me with that weird eyes.
Anyways, so then it's, for example, Utah just re-put in their, mostly because of their religion, their firing squad form of execution. And I think that's sort of a way, if you think about it, that each village is almost like a state. And that every once in a while, those states stop seeking the need to kill somebody once a year. So that's my personal input on the story. This is my quick podcast about the rationale of the lottery. I hope I did a good job, and goodbye.